As a powerful female CEO, I went to a small town for the first time. I ran into something strange right away. The shop names in the town looked a lot like my assistant's name. That made me start to doubt things. The assistant, who had followed me for 3 years, might actually be a hidden rich kid. I was a newspaper executive making over $1 million a year. I had a high position in the company, but my strong image made employees call me a devil boss in private. Nick was just a regular assistant. He was always busy running around for work. He had to stay right behind me at all times. Every morning, he ran across 10 streets just to get me the coffee I liked. If he got the coffee wrong, I would make him work overtime at night as punishment. Nick had been working with me for 3 years in that environment. He barely had any days off during that time.
And I need you around this weekend to help review his files and his manuscripts.
This weekend?
You have a problem with that?
No, it's my grandmother's 90th birthday, so I was gonna go home and...
I was very satisfied with him as my assistant. But as a senior executive, I had to treat everyone equally, even when the deputy editor made mistakes. I never showed any mercy. Bob, I'm letting you go.
Pardon?
You're fired. I found out he was late to work 5 minutes and spent 2 hours slacking off. It was time to fire him.
Now, I will give you 2 months to find another job, and then you can tell everyone you resign. Okay?
Before he could react, I had already walked away confidently. In the company, I was known for being strict and dominant. That was how all employees described me. Even though my management style was hard to accept, my strong performance made the boss tolerate it. But this time I made a serious mistake because I was too focused on work. I forgot to submit my visa renewal. My visa expired, and immigration decided to deport me. It was a huge shock to me. What shocked me even more was that the shareholders decided that after my deportation, the fired deputy editor would replace my position.
We need an editor-in-chief. He's the only person in the building who has enough experience.
You cannot be serious. I beg of
Margaret,
you. I beg.
we are desperate to have you stay.
At that critical moment, Nick walked into the office unexpectedly. When I saw him, I had a bold idea.
We're getting married. We're getting married.
Who is getting married?
You and I are getting married. Yes.
Although my boss was shocked, they were still happy for me. As long as we completed a marriage registration quickly, I could stay in the United States. Without giving Nick a chance to explain, I pulled him back to the office. I told him if he refused to marry me, all his 3 years of suffering would be meaningless.
Margaret,
Yes.
I'm not gonna marry you.
Sure you are. Because if you don't marry me, your dreams of touching the lives of millions with the written word are dead.
Nick froze immediately. He had no interest in me personally, but for the job he had worked for 3 years, he reluctantly agreed. We agreed that once the legal time requirement was met, we would end the marriage immediately. Then we went to the immigration office to register, but the officer could tell at a glance we had no couple-like chemistry. He warned us if the marriage was only to stay here, it would be illegal and could lead to a fine of up to $250,000. Nick became very nervous. I quickly responded and said we planned to go to his hometown this weekend to celebrate his grandmother's 90th birthday and announce the marriage to his family. Nick also gathered courage and made up a romantic story, saying that because we worked overtime together often, he gradually fell in love with me, even though we barely passed. The officer still warned us that 1 week later, we would be questioned separately again about relationship details. After leaving the immigration office, Nick felt extremely unbalanced. He thought he was taking huge risks and deserved more returns, so he made new demands. Besides helping him publish a book, he also wanted a promotion.
Promote you to editor? No.
Then I quit, and you're screwed. Bye-bye, Margaret.
Faced with this, I had to compromise. I promised that once the marriage succeeded, I would immediately promote him, but Nick felt I was being insincere and asked me to show more commitment.
Ask me nicely to marry you, Margaret.
Sweet. Andrew,
I'm listening.
would you please, with cherries on top, marry me?
This shift gave Nick a sense of control. Then I flew with Nick to his hometown. On the plane, I openly mocked his family background and insisted that after marriage, he must live in my house.
And why wouldn't we stay at mine?
Because I live at Central Park West. And you probably live at some squalid little studio apartment.
Nick remained calm in response, but I started feeling uneasy. I did not know how to face his poor relatives. The plane soon landed. Nick's grandmother was already waiting outside the gate. As soon as she saw us, Nick's mother warmly welcomed me. We drove through winding mountain roads and arrived at a small town, but I quickly noticed something strange. All the shop names started with Nick's last name.
You didn't tell me about all the family businesses, honey.
That was only the beginning. Something even more shocking was ahead. As if returning to his own territory. Nick started acting more confident. He no longer spoke to me carefully like before. Instead, he watched my embarrassment quietly. Soon, we boarded a yacht, but I still felt confused inside. Was I really coming to Nick's home? As my eyes passed a stone cliff, a huge castle appeared in front of me, and my suspicion was confirmed. Compared to Nick being a rich heir, I was the real working-class one. To welcome their son, who had been away for 3 years, his family prepared a grand banquet. I met Nick's father for the first time. He strongly opposed Nick's choice of working life and mocked his job. Nick was already used to it. At the party, Nick announced that we were going to get married. Everyone cheered and started asking for a kiss. We had to comply to avoid exposure. At night, Nick's mother arranged a quiet room for us. After they left, Nick set up a floor bed. Sharing a room with my male assistant made his thoughts chaotic, and I also felt uneasy and unable to sleep. The next morning, I was woken by a phone call. I went outside quietly to answer it. On the other side, Nick's father found him and spoke to him seriously. He apologized for what he said before and expressed support for the upcoming marriage. He also hoped Nick would stay and take over the family business.
I think I've been more than understanding about your goofing off in New York.
I feel sorry for you, Dad. I wish you had another son, I really do.
The conversation still did not resolve their conflict. I returned and prepared to take a shower, but Nick wearing headphones did not notice.
What are you even doing home? Did you just jump me out of nowhere? What's that?
I didn't mean to jump you.
Because we were living under the same roof, this kind of situation happened. By nightfall, the awkwardness still remained between us, but our way of interacting began to change. I slowly let down my guard and showed a softer side. I talked about how the deputy editor once called me a devil boss and how I acted strong on the outside, but cried alone in the bathroom. When I was 16, I lost my parents. Since then, flowers became something painful for me because they reminded me of their funeral. Under the fireplace light, we slowly found emotional resonance through repeated conversations. The seed of something began to form without notice. The next morning, a sudden knock woke us up. I quickly signaled Nick to get into bed to avoid exposure. We were not discovered, but unexpectedly, Nick's family decided to hold a grand wedding the next day. Combined with the grandmother's birthday celebration, the news hit us like a shock. Nick's grandmother came out excitedly and expressed her wish to see her grandson's wedding in her lifetime. I could not refuse that expectation, so I forced myself to agree. Nick felt conflicted. He feared the fake wedding would be exposed and bring disappointment to his family. I kept calm on the surface, but inside I was in chaos. I kept telling myself it was just a transaction, but I had already developed real feelings for Nick. Later, his mother and grandmother took me to a bridal shop. They chose an old wedding dress for me. His mother cried when looking at me as the future daughter-in-law. I felt more and more uneasy, as if I was betraying their expectations. Then the grandmother gave me a family heirloom, a treasure passed down for 150 years. I felt overwhelmed facing such a valuable gift and deeply moved by the family warmth. Then I found Nick, and we quickly started the yacht. During these days in Nick's family, I experienced a different kind of family warmth. I feared it would all disappear, like a brief dream. Then we rushed back home. Before we could rest, Nick's father called us to the warehouse. Immigration officers had tracked us down and informed him about our fake marriage. The officer demanded Nick tell the truth in front of his father and promised leniency if he confessed. But Nick chose to stand by me without hesitation. Under flowers and applause, Nick and I held the wedding as planned. Nick's grandmother held my hand and walked me into the ceremony. But during the vows, I interrupted. Under everyone's gaze, I admitted my past and revealed the fake marriage and took all responsibility upon myself.